Hey everyone, it's Aubrey, recovering perfectionist, queen of distraction. Welcome back for another kitchen decluttering video. Over the course of this year, as I've been decluttering rooms and categories in our home, the kitchen was one space that I ended up breaking down into 3 phases. The first phase was the fridge, freezer, pantry, basically anything that we are eating or ingesting. And then part 2, which was last week, I dealt with all of the cabinets that were above the counter. And today, here we are, phase 3, part 3, whatever you want to call it. We are going to be tackling all of the drawers and cabinets that are below the counter. So everything in this island, all of the drawers and cabinets. And while those first 2 phases are out of the way, I do feel very much like that was really only half of the kitchen. It's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be all right. I am already feeling overwhelmed. I have been feeling overwhelmed as I've thought about doing this. And so just in preparation for this last night, I did pull everything out of the drawers and cabinets ahead of time, and I put everything on the island and the counters, and I did kind of pre-categorize everything. And while some of these things weren't necessarily living together, like some of my appliances were in my pantry, for the most part, like items are with like items, and I'm hoping that that's just going to make this process a little bit easier for me. Before I do start going through everything, I do need to clean out the drawers and cabinets. They're pretty gross, specifically the one that had the toaster in it. There's just a lot of stuff. Ugh. Okay. I'm getting overwhelmed with trying to talk about how I'm going to do this, so I'm going to stop talking about how I'm going to try and do this, and I'm just going to do it. All right, that's all. Okay, I'm feeling honestly extremely overwhelmed. I haven't even started yet. I tried to start, but I couldn't start. And so I have just a lot of things and thoughts going on in my head that I just need to get out. I was going to try not to talk a ton, but this just happens every time I do a video like this where I declutter. Like I have to really verbalize my thought process, and it helps me, figure out what the heck I'm going to do with all this stuff. So a few things that I need to consider. What's going to be the most efficient place to put things? Is where it was working? Is where it was not working? Is it going to be confusing for my son when I move things around? And yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Let's go for a walk. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this. Rest in peace, brother. I miss you so much. Fly high, love. Sister. Love you always. That poor girl. I know that feeling all too well. Okay, so I'm back from my walk. That ended up taking a turn that I wasn't expecting. I guess I thought I was going to go outside and just clear my head and, you know, be able to come in and tackle this, which yes, that happened, but also just first things first. Emily, if you are out there, my heart goes out to you. I know all too well the struggle and grief of losing a brother. So with that being said, after I found this balloon, it really made me realize, which I knew I was already overthinking this process, but I wrote down 2 things that I'm going to try and just keep in my mind. And that is, am I serving these items or are these items serving me? Which I guess is kind of in tune to, are these things making me happy or are they causing me stress? Do they actually serve a purpose? What value do they add? Whether that's, am I actually using things or are these things healthy for us to be cooking out of? And there are just so many things recently that, like, fun fact, you know, it's not actually healthy to bake with silicone, which I have silicone cupcake liners. I got silicone cooking mats. That just reminds me, I did not pull any of the stuff out from underneath my oven. I need to do that. So what I'm going to do first is get the stuff out from under my oven, but I'm just going to walk around the island and I'm going to move things over to this table, the dining table here, of the things that I just don't want in my home. Gosh, this is taking me way too long. Okay, I have to stop talking. I at least feel like I have like some kind of like direction to send the tiny amount of momentum that I do have going. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. All right, so here we are down at my 3 lower cabinets. Now I have pulled out the things that I know that I want to part with or more than likely part with, but maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. So now I am at that point where I'm like, okay, where do I put things? Do I put them back where they were? Do I put them back where they weren't? So this is the cavern. It's literally the largest cabinet in my kitchen, I guess with the exception of this guy here, but it has the smallest door. We've kept several different variations of things in here over the years, but the most recent thing that has been in here is our Tupperware. It doesn't work. Like, it gets organized nicely, and then my son unloads the dishwasher and it gets unorganized, things get broken. I think that I need to go back to keeping them in here or over in this one. So I did most recently have appliances in here. This is where the Tupperware were once upon a time. And then over here is where I did once upon a time have my KitchenAid. That's where that has since migrated to the pantry, but where I had like my pie dishes and other baking stuff that I actually really don't use a lot, like ever. So I think that what I'm going to do is baking stuff is going to go in the tiny cave. Appliances are going to go back in here, or would this one be better? I'm just gonna have to move some things around. I'm gonna bring everything down here and I'm just gonna have to come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to figure it out if I keep talking about it. Okay, so I have decided that our Tupperware things are going to come and live down here. That shelf was very high up. I think I'm gonna scooch that down a peg or 2. Oh, what a poorly designed system. Okay. Stupid dummy. Who designed this? Oh, God. Oh, I have to figure out how to do that every time. Okay, so as I migrate the Tupperware down, let's talk food storage. Okay, here we are. Some time has passed. My phone, which I record on, was dying, so I needed to plug that in, and then that also gave me an opportunity to just pop in my AirPod, my remaining one, because the other one, I don't know where it is. I was listening to an audiobook, and it just really helped me like get out of my head and just kind of go through the motions without overthinking too much. Right now I'm listening to The Story She Left Behind by Patty Callahan Henry, and I am very, very much enjoying that. As far as the island goes, like the counter for the most part is clear, except for a few remaining things. The things that were in the larger drawers have gone back in those drawers. And then in this cabinet here, I've put all of my baking stuff, which I don't use on a super regular basis. So when I do go to use those things, it's not going to be the end of the world that they're in a relatively inaccessible place, just because I'm not going in and out of here all the time. There will probably end up being a few more things that end up migrating in there. But for right now, this drawer right here is currently where utensils have been living like ever since we moved in. And I'm tempted to migrate those to the top right drawer of the island, which is where I've kept our knives and like Ziploc bags and stuff. And it just, that ends up being our junk drawer, and it's too big for a junk drawer. I don't mind having a drawer that kind of collects random bits and bobs here and there. I just feel like that's how life goes, especially with me, with my ADHD brain. Sometimes like, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just gonna set it here and I'll deal with it whenever I end up dealing with it. Again, this is just one of those things where like, less talking, more doing, let's do. So first things first, I talked about, wanting to part with things with toxic coatings, blah, blah, blah. So I was thinking that I was going to get rid of these 2 cake pans that I have in my springform pan, but I use these, but it's like a once in a blue moon kind of thing. I am going to just keep these and put them away with my baking stuff. I do not bake enough cakes or cheesecakes to validate investing the money in, like a stainless steel version of these things. And with that being said, something that I do want to upgrade is my crock pot. Now, I've had this Pioneer Woman crock pot for, I think, 5 years now. I use the bejesus out of it, especially come fall and winter. The inside's scratched up, and I have heard things about lead in the Pioneer Woman crock pot. So I figure that I'm going to let this go. I'm going to let it go, and I will bite the bullet on, I'm thinking maybe one of the Instant Pots that has the slow cooker option. I haven't done a ton of research, like, is there a stainless steel crock pot? I don't know, but So that's going. All right, so it is the next morning after I did all the things, and I was looking more at Instant Pots and thinking more about the crock pot. And I think that just for the time being, since all of the safety concerns, I don't know if I made those up in my head or if I was just thinking back to like the lead concerns with her dishes. So I think that I'm going to dive in to the interwebs and just do a smidge more research and decide on if it's worth actually parting with. So for the meantime, I'm just going to hang on to it until I actually find something that I want to replace it with if need be. I like the idea of the Instant Pot because I know that you can make yogurt with it, and I feel like that could be fun. And there are a lot of other bells and whistles as far as options go. I like absolutely need that slow cooking option. And then same thing with this waffle iron. We don't make waffles a ton, so I feel confident just parting with this for now. If I find a stainless steel waffle iron, or I don't know, something that's just not coated in a bunch of crap, then I will maybe get one, but for now I'm okay just letting that go. Another thing, okay, so I have these silicone cupcake muffin liners, and I was baking in these a lot, but then like I found out, you know, it's not good to heat up your silicone, which I've also been using these silicone baking mats. I do use both of these things for freezing. A lot of times we'll make homemade Reese's cups in these silicone liners, and they're far easier to get out of this than a traditional cupcake liner. And then these mats I was going to just toss, but I freeze on these. So like during the summer when we were harvesting a lot of berries, or if there's other fruits, veggies that I want to freeze, I freeze them on these. They pop off really easy, and I put them in whatever the heck I'm gonna put them in, which does bring me to this non-stick pan aluminum situation. I don't know, I got this in 2011. It seems better days. But again, it is a tray that works for freezing things. So these things I'm going to just go put out in the freezer. And hopefully when I go looking for these, when I want to freeze something, I will remember that that is where they are. That's going out. This will go back in the kitchen. But what I have decided to just get in place of these, it's just unbleached paper cupcake liners. And I just got these off of Amazon. They work fine. Okay, let's see. This Pampered Chef chopper, literally have no idea where it came from. Haven't a clue. It was probably my grandma's. I thought like maybe the boys would chop with it, but no, I need to get rid of it. Like, even if the boys were going to cut something, I would forget that I even had that. Let's see, these food colors, you know, we're trying to do the best we can to avoid artificial food coloring, though we fail miserably a portion of the time. But this I will use for like art projects and stuff. If they don't end up getting used, I'll toss them. Again, some sprinkles that don't even taste good, but again are just filled with a bunch of artificial dyes. The boys don't even like them. They want to try them, they want to taste them, but they're like, oh, they're gross, why do we have them? We're throwing them away. Okay, also apologies that I'm just like such a tired downer this week. I feel like last week when we did the first portion of this, it was just like so fun and hilarious, and I'm just not a cheery, hilarious lady today. Okay, this wood corn cutter creamer, my mother-in-law got me for Christmas last year. Thank you, but literally every single time corn has come into my house, I forget that this exists. I am not a fan of gadgets that do things that like a knife could do. Like if I really want to cut corn off of the thing, I can do that with a knife. Let's see, these safari animal dinosaur shaped magnets I had on the fridge forever, and they would just end up off of the fridge, under the fridge, everywhere other than the fridge. And I had them in a cabinet thinking that I'd pull them out every once in a while for Alec to play with. I have not done that. I have not done that at all. And I was feeling guilty about it as I put them in this bag to part with. And I was like, oh, you know, maybe I'll give them to him and he can play with them. But I mean, he's doing other things. He will be fine. He'll be fine without the magnets. Maybe they will spark joy for some other kiddo. Let's see. And then in here, just like some miscellaneous measuring spoons that I don't need. Like this cup I should just recycle because it doesn't have the straw for it. I do have some mason jar lids that are rusty. I wouldn't want to use them for canning. So I was going to recycle them, but then I thought, hey, this might be fun to do some kind of art project. And then just like, we don't need 2 potato mashers. This thing, we're kind of beyond that phase of life. nothing really exciting there. And then this juicer, super bummed, but the piece that's like very crucial to containing the mess that comes blasting out of this melted in the dishwasher, and I've tried to find a replacement part for it, and it's been about a year now, and I'm going to let this go. But that's that. That was a lot of work. I feel so much better about how everything ended up coming back together though. I was able to, by moving the drawer that had the silverware in it to that top island drawer, I was able to eliminate one drawer that was carrying like some kind of utensil, like, you know, your whisks and your measuring cups and stuff like that. So instead of having the 4 drawers that had like some version of a cooking tool in it, I now only have 3, the 2 larger ones and then the one next to the stove. The drawer that did have our silverware in it, that's what I've kind of made like our junk drawer. My planner went in it, pins, some super glue, tape, like little miscellaneous bits and bobs that I do use on a semi-regular basis. I do like now that I have a specific spot in the kitchen to tuck my planner in, because a lot of the times like my husband will just cram it in a drawer to get it out of the way. And I like that it has its own little nook though. Oh, and then there is one drawer in the island that I was able to almost completely clear out. There are a couple like barbecue spatula things that I might try and find another spot for. I could probably tuck those away somewhere else and just free up that drawer completely. One thing that I had kind of imagined as we go into homeschooling was like having just a drawer where we keep like, okay, you know, you have your stuff for the day that's in this drawer, and that's where like Jackson would go to find his stuff in the morning to like start his day. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I think that is it. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we need to talk about. No, that's all. I'm so tired and I think I'm going to bed early after this, but thank you so much for taking a chunk out of your day to hang out with me. It feels really like just such a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders having this kitchen done. And I'm sure that at some point in the future, like, you know, next year or the year after, I'll have to go through and do this all over again. But I mean, that's just part of life and having a house. It's just kind of a living, breathing, ever-changing thing. And I feel content in the fact that I've just kind of come to terms that it's not going to be organized and perfect all the time. I mean, really, it's always far from perfect, but that's all. Thank you again for stopping by as I tackle this project. If you would like to see any more of my decluttering videos and you haven't, I'll link those in the description. If you're not subscribed, you are invited. I hope to see you in the next one. As always, I love you, have fun, and be kind.